Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is I, Jolting Joe, coming to you live from my back porch on a Friday afternoon. And what are you drinking and what are you smoking? Now, I'm not going to fire it up today uh, because I got someplace I got to go. I don't have time to actually smoke this thing. But this is a Rocky Patel vintage 1992. My wife gave it to me for my birthday, so I'm just going to use it kind of as a prop here. All right, so we got that going. And then what are you drinking? It is fall. St. Arnold, our local craft brewery here in Houston, Texas, they do what's called a pumpkinator. And this is last year's version, but this one is special because it was aged in bourbon barrels with vanilla. So there you go. That's some good stuff right there. That is some good drinking. Now this is a year-old beer. All right. Does this one say? Foam Ranger. Okay. All right. And St. Arnold's glass. Here we go. And this is going to be delicioso. All right. This is once again. Ooh. Let's see. Shit. Pour it out. There you go. Look at that. Mm-hmm. Good as the last drop. All right. Cheers, everybody. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh, that's good. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I got here. I use it as my prop here. All right. So, a couple of things. First of all, the MLB playoffs have started today as we speak. The Cleveland Guardians and the Tampa Bay Rays are playing right now. Last I looked, it was 2-1 Guardians. It is still 2-1 Guardians. Bottom eight, two out, runner at first. Now the wild card games are this weekend. Now here, let me just do this. We're gonna start with baseball here. All right, and let's finish off with the standings. All right, so the Yankees, of course, won the American League East. Your wild card teams were Toronto and Tampa, and then also Seattle. Those are your three wild card teams. And then, like I said, the Yankees won the East, Cleveland the Central, the Astros the West. In the National League, the Mets blew a 10.5 game lead, and the Atlanta. Now they actually finished with the same record Atlanta and New York did. Both had 101 wins, both 101 and 61, but the Braves had the tiebreaker. They actually swept the Mets, and the Mets blow it, and Atlanta ends up winning the East. St. Louis, excuse me, wins the Central. The Dodgers, of course, win the West, and then your wild card teams were the Mets, the Phillies, and the Padres. So the Mets, because they blew that lead, they get to play the Padres, and then the Cardinals and Phillies are playing. Now, the Mets will be playing in New York, all three games, and then all three games are in St. Louis. Then Toronto has home field over Seattle, and the Indians have home field over Tampa. Now, in the American League, the winner of the Tampa Cleveland series will face the Yankees, and then the winner of Toronto and Seattle will face the Astros in the ALDS. Now, in the National League, it'll be the Phillies and the Cardinals. The winner of that series will face the Atlanta Braves, and then it'll be the Padres and the Mets. The winner of that series will face the Dodgers in the NLDS. So that's the way things are shaking out in the baseball world. But it is October. It is October baseball. There is nothing better than October baseball when it comes to baseball. October baseball is the best baseball. All right, and so good times. Good times as far as that is concerned. NBA still in the preseason, hockey in the preseason. We're not going to really get into too much of that. Like I said, it is all about the playoffs now for the Major League Baseball. Now, also too with baseball, just so you know, the way that this is going to work is, like I said, they play all 3 games in one spot. So whoever's got home field, they've got home field for all 3 games. They'll play today, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if necessary, Sunday. They'll have Monday off, and then the division series will start on Tuesday. Both the American League and the National League will start on Tuesday. They're not going to reseed. It's just a straight bracket. So, like I said, whoever wins out of Toronto, Seattle plays the Astros, and so on and so forth. Okay, as far as that is concerned. Okay. All right, let's go to the NFL for our NFL recap. All right, of last week's game, Week 4. Of course, we talked about last week. We talked about the Thursday night game when Tua was concussed. But then on my birthday, it was not a good day. Commanders absolutely suck, and they suck long, and they suck hard. Cowboys won that game 25-10, and Cowboys really. I mean, the Cowboys aren't that good. They probably should have scored a lot more points. Washington defense did keep the Cowboy offense out of the end zone a few times, held them to some field goals. To be honest with you, it should have been a lot worse than that. But like I said, my team sucks. Vikings held on and beat the Saints in London. The Vikings fucked me, though, because I had the Vikings minus the 3. Now, granted, they didn't lose me any money, so I can't be too hard on them. But they didn't win me any money either. But I had the Vikings minus the 3, and they ended up pushing for me. So I was like, whatever. Falcons actually beat the Browns 23-20 last week. Then in that track meet, Seahawks ended up beating the Lions 48-45. If you had the over in that game, you did very well. Also, if you had Jared Goff in your fantasy team, you did very well. Titans beat the Colts 24-17. Giants beat the Bears 20-12. Eagles came back from behind, beat the Jags 29-21 in a rain-soaked game. Jets beat the Steelers 24-20. We saw Kenny Pickett come out and play. Looks like Mitch Trubisky might be done. All right. I think we all knew who Mitch Trubisky was. Mitch Trubisky still Mitch Trubisky. The Bills beat the Ravens 23-20. Chargers over the Texans 34-24. Cardinals did win me some money. I did have the Cardinals on the money line. They did beat the Panthers 26-16. All right. The Packers beat the Patriots in overtime, 27-24. The Packers might be the worst 3-1 team I've ever seen. They don't look that good, but are somehow 3-1. I don't know. Raiders finally got off the schneid and beat the Broncos 32-23 for their first win of the season. And then the Chiefs beat the Tampa Bay 41-31 on Sunday night. And then Monday night, once again, the Rams look like shit too. The Niners beat them 24-9 in that one. So that was your Week 4 recap. Getting into Week 5, last night was rough. Last night was rough. That was a rough game. No touchdowns in that one. The final score was 12-9. So to quote Howard Cosell from back in the day, the score is 12-9. If you like field goals, we got ourselves a game. All right. I mean, that's Jesus Christ. I didn't turn the game on until the fourth quarter, and it was, and at that point it was 9-6. I'm like, there's 15 total points. So God bless everybody that took the under in that game. You made out like a banshee. Jesus Christ. And then, of course, the game goes to overtime. Like the one game that everybody wants it to end. Just like, put us out of our misery. Shoot me in the head. Can we end this game? Nope, we're not going to. We're not going to do that. And instead, we're going to play overtime. And then it gets to overtime. Colts kick a field goal, go up 12-9. And then Russell Wilson's got a chance to win the game. Now, earlier in the season, they had a 4th down chance, and they didn't go for it. They settled for a long-ass field goal, like a 60-plus yarder. All right, so this time they're down there in the red zone. I mean, they're inside the 10-yard line. It's 4th and 1. You know, they can kick it and tie it, but you're probably going to end up with a tie at that point because there was there wasn't a lot of time left in the overtime at this point. And Russell Wilson for whatever reason, didn't go through his progressions. He just was looking for one guy and was just staring him down the entire time. And he had a wide open guy over on his right, but he's looking left the entire time. So this is Russell Wilson just like this, looking, 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 and then throws it, while the guy that's over here that he doesn't see was wide ass open. And had he seen him, it would have been an easy score, and that would have been that. But he didn't, and the Broncos lose again. And the Broncos get all these primetime games. Like, I understand that Russell Wilson was supposed to make Denver better. I get that. But, like, Russell Wilson didn't just make the Broncos a Super Bowl contender. Like, what the fuck, NFL schedulers? Like, why are you putting the Broncos in all these goddamn primetime games? They look like absolute garbage, like a big steaming pile of shit. They've won one fucking game, all right, and every game they've played in has been fucking horrible, and they haven't been able to score any goddamn points. And Jesus Christ, man, and the fucking Titans too, man. I mean, the fucking Colts. Like, I thought the Colts got Matt Ryan. We're gonna be a hell of a lot better, man. Hell, I think the Colts would be better off with Philip fucking Rivers at this point. Jesus Christ on a crutch, man. I don't. Whew. That was rough. But here's the thing about that game last night. So we're all bitching and complaining about it, right? Because it was boring as fuck. All right. Poor Al Michaels was sitting there just trying to hang on, and he's like, and of course this game goes to overtime. What else? Why wouldn't it go to overtime? And everybody was bitching about the game, that this is the worst game of the season. It was boring as fuck. Why are Denver getting all these primetime games? These are two shitty teams, and blah, blah, blah. Everybody's just dogging the game, which they should be. It was horrible football. Nobody scored a touchdown. There was like a shit ton of sacks. I think Matt Ryan threw like 2 picks. The Colts had 4 fumbles. It was horrible. It was not a good football game. Here's the power of the NFL, though. We were all still watching it. Nobody turned it off. We sat there and we suffered. We tortured ourselves for over 3 hours in the fucking overtime, and we sat there and we took it right up the ass. No lube, no reach around, and we liked it because it was football. That's how popular the NFL is in this fucking country. All right, it is our national pastime now. It is way past anything else. But the only reason to watch that game last night was if you had fantasy players. By the way, shout out Melvin Gordon. He helped me out last night. I had to bench Taylor because Taylor was out last night, and plus, I mean, the Colts looked like shit anyway. But Taylor, of course, was out, so I had to put in Gordon. He got me 13 points, which Taylor only got me 4 points last week, so I'll take 13 points from a backup. So shout out Melvin Gordon. All right, basically my fantasy matchup this week, I'm 3-1, by the way. But my fantasy matchup this week is a crapshoot at this point, so it's a toss-up. So we'll see what happens. But so hopefully Michael Thomas plays on Sunday. That's all I'm going to say. Now, but we were all still fucking watching it. You're gonna bitch. You can put foot. It doesn't matter. It can be just shittiest 2 teams in the league, which last night was bad, and we're still gonna fucking watch. That's how popular the NFL is. All right, the NFL is that fucking popular. All right, it is that fucking popular to where everybody was still talking about the game. All right, nobody had anything good to say about the game, but everybody was still talking about the game. All right, and that's just that shows you the power of the NFL. It's fucking amazing. Okay. Oh, before we get into that, hold on a second. Let's get into real quick. Let's get into some college football because I totally forgot to do that last week. Here's how the top 25 fared. Number 19, BYU beat Utah State 38-26. Number 15, Washington lost to UCLA 40-32. Michigan beat Iowa, and then number 14, Ole Miss beat number 7, Kentucky 22-19. And then TCU put a beatdown on number 18 Oklahoma, 55-24. OU got the shit kicked out of them. Purdue beat number 21 Minnesota, 20-10. K-State beat Tech. Utah, number 12, they beat Oregon State. Bama beat number 20 Arkansas. Ohio State won. Okie State beat number 16 Baylor, 36-25. Penn State won. Wake Forest beat Florida State. A&M, number 17 A&M, lost to Mississippi State 42-24. Georgia squeaked out a victory over Missouri. And then Clemson beat NC State. That was a 5 versus 10. Clemson number 5. Pitt lost to Georgia Tech 26-21. Pitt ranked number 24. USC beat Arizona State. And then Oregon beat Stanford. So for the top 25 this week, now we do have the Red River Showdown or Red River Rivalry or the Red River Shootout, whatever the fuck you want to call it, between OU and Texas, but both teams aren't very good. That'll be your 11 a.m. kick. And then we got Bama A&M, which should be a big matchup. But College Game Day is actually going to be in Kansas for the Kansas TCU game. For TCU 4-0, Kansas 5-0, and that's your big game of the, with Bama playing A&M and with OU Texas. That's actually your game of the week right there, ladies and gentlemen. Kansas and TCU, go figure. All right, so real quick, top 25. Number 4, Michigan has Indiana. Number 8, Tennessee's playing number 25, LSU. Number 17, TCU at number 19, Kansas. Arkansas goes to number 23, Mississippi State. South Florida at number 24, Cincinnati. Number 2, Georgia taking on Auburn at home. Okie State, number 7, taking on Tech at home. UCLA is number 18. They're taking on number 11, Utah in LA. Ohio State goes on the road. They're number 3. They go to play at Michigan State. Ole Miss, number 9, goes to play Vandy. Number 21, Washington goes to Arizona State. Number 5, Clemson playing Boston College. Washington State playing number 6, USC. Number 13, Kentucky playing South Carolina. Wake Forest at Army. Wake Forest number 15. BYU's number 16. They're at Notre Dame. Kansas State number 20 playing Iowa State. Bama number 1, of course, they're playing A&M, as I mentioned to you. NC State number 14 playing Florida State. And then number 12, Oregon playing Arizona. So there is your top 25 for this week. All right, plus we got OU and Texas, but unless you're an OU Texas fan, you're not going to care about that game. Boy, howdy. All right, NFL. Back to NFL. Let's get a preview of this week. All right, we already talked about last night's game, what a clusterfuck that was, but we all still watched. Okay. All right. So Tennessee's at Washington. Tennessee's minus the 2. I tried to bet against my team, but if I was going to bet against my team, I'd take the Titans in this game. Carson Wentz sucks. The offense sucks. Dodson's out with a hamstring. Good fucking Lord. Giants are at the Packers. Both teams 3-1. Green Bay was actually an 8-point favorite. They're playing that game in London. I'll take the Giants to cover. I don't know. 8 seems a lot for the Packers. I'll take the Giants to cover in that game. Steelers at Bills. Bills are 14-point favorites. Just take the Bills and the points, man. Chargers at the Browns. Both teams 2-2. Chargers are 2.5-point favorites in that one. The Bears taking on the Vikings in Minnesota. Minnesota 7.5-point favorites in that one. Lions at Patriots. Both teams 1-3. New England's a 3-point favorite in that game. Seattle at New Orleans. New Orleans is a 5.5-point favorite at home. Dolphins going to the Jets. Dolphins a minus 3.5-point favorite to the Jets. Teddy Bridgewater will be starting over the concussed Tua Tagovailoa. Falcons at the Bucks. Bucks are 10-point favorites. Texans at the Jags. Texans the only winless team so far. They are 0-3-1. The Jags are 7-point favorites in that one. Niners going to Carolina. Niners are 6.5-point favorites on the road. Cowboys going to the Rams. Rams are 5-point favorites. And then the Eagles are going to Arizona. Philly's actually a 5-point favorite in that one. Sunday Night Football, Bengals, Ravens, Baltimore, 3.5-point favorites. And then the Monday night game, the Raiders against the Chiefs. Chiefs are 7-point favorites in that one. So we should actually have a good Sunday night game and a good Monday night game, because God knows we need it after a fucking Thursday night stunk up the joint. Jesus Christ. That was bad. So bad. So bad. All right. Okay. All right, and an update for you. It just went final. Cleveland defeats Tampa in the first game 2-1. So Cleveland takes a 1-0 lead in that series. And let's see here. Phillies and Cardinals just started. Bottom second, 2 out. And then Mariners, Blue Jays play at 3:07. And then Padres and Mets at 7:07. Those times are central. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's pretty much all I got for you. I got our college football, our NFL, and our MLB in for the day. It is October baseball. I will be at the game on Tuesday, whoever the Astros take on, and for the first game of the ALDS. Y'all have a good rest of y'all's week. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time. Remember, on Twitter, at JJSportsShow63. That's at JJSportsShow63. Catch me there. Like, subscribe. Love y'all. See ya.